The alarm system screamed across Velrathi station like wounded animals. Admiral Zekthor pressed his three-fingered hand against the tactical display, watching red markers swarm across the holographic projection. Each red dot represented a Korthax warship, and there were far too many of them. How many? He asked, though he already knew the answer would be bad. 68 ships confirmed, Admiral, his communications officer Talana reported. Her blue skin had turned pale with fear. 3 dreadnoughts leading the formation. They're targeting the station's shield generators. Zekthor felt his throat tighten. The coalition had only 32 ships defending Velrathi station, and most of them were transport vessels or light cruisers. Against the Korthax Dominion's full battle fleet, they might as well be throwing rocks at a mountain. Send distress signals on all frequencies. Zekthor ordered. Tell any coalition forces within range that Velrathis is under attack. We need reinforcements immediately. He watched the battle unfold through the viewport. Explosions lit up the darkness of space like terrible flowers blooming and dying in seconds. The Korthax ships moved in perfect formation, their dark hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They had been planning this attack for months, maybe years. Velrathis station was the key to this entire sector. If it fell, the Korthax would control the trade routes that fed a dozen worlds. The Viridian cruiser Starlight has been destroyed, Talana announced, her voice shaking. The Korthax are breaking through our left flank. Zekthor closed his eyes briefly. The Starlight had carried 800 crew members. Good people, families, all gone in a flash of plasma fire. Order all civilian transports to evacuate immediately, he said. Military vessels will cover their retreat. Sir, there are 3 million civilians on this station. We don't have enough transport ships. I know! Zekthor's shout echoed through the command center. He took a breath and spoke more quietly. I know, Talana, but we save who we can. The station shuddered as enemy fire struck the outer shields. Zekthor grabbed the edge of his console to keep from falling. The lights flickered, and somewhere in the distance he heard the groan of metal being pushed beyond its limits. On the tactical display, more red markers appeared. The Korthax were bringing in their second wave. Coalition ships were dying one by one, overwhelmed by superior numbers and firepower. The species of the coalition had been at peace for so long, they had forgotten how to wage real war. The Korthax had not forgotten. They had been preparing for this moment. The Korthax flagship is hailing us, Talana said. Put them through. The holographic display shimmered and changed. A Korthax commander appeared. His scaled face twisted into what might have been a smile. The Korthax were reptilian, with sharp teeth and eyes that glowed red in the dim light of their bridge. Admiral Zekthor of the Arathan Command, the Korthax said, his voice hissing through the translator. Your resistance is pointless. Surrender the station and we will allow the civilians to evacuate. And if I refuse, then we will destroy the station with everyone inside. You have 1 hour to decide. The transmission ended. Zekthor stood in silence, staring at the empty space where the Korthax commander had been. Around him, his crew waited for orders that he did not know how to give. Admiral, Talana said quietly, what do we do? Zekthor looked at the tactical display again. 32 ships had become 19. The Korthax had lost only 5 vessels. The math was simple and brutal. They could not win this battle. Prepare to evacuate the station, he finally said. Military vessels will hold position as long as possible to buy time for the civilian transports. It was a death sentence for his fleet, and everyone in the command center knew it. But what choice did they have? 3 million lives depended on them. If surrendering the station and sacrificing the fleet meant those lives could be saved, then that was what they had to do. Sir, one of the sensor operators called out, I'm detecting a strange energy signature on the long-range sensors. What kind of signature? I don't know, sir. I've never seen anything like it. It's approaching from the outer system at incredible speed. It's moving faster than any ship I've ever tracked. Zekthor frowned. Is it more Korthax reinforcements? No, sir. The energy signature is completely different. It's not matching any known species' propulsion systems. Show me. The tactical display zoomed out to show the entire Velrathi system. There at the edge of the sensor range was a single blue marker. It was moving toward them at a speed that should have been impossible. Ships that traveled that fast through normal space usually tore themselves apart from the stress. Could it be a weapon? Talana asked. A missile or drone? Too large, the sensor operator replied. It's ship-sized, but the readings are strange. It's like nothing in our database. Zekthor watched the blue marker race across the display. Whatever it was, it would arrive in minutes. The station shuddered again as more Korthax fire struck the shields. They were running out of time. Keep tracking that signature, Zekthor ordered, and continue evacuation procedures. Whatever that thing is, it probably won't change anything. But even as he said the words, Zekthor felt a small spark of hope ignite in his chest. In war, strange and unexpected things sometimes happened. Maybe this was one of those moments. Maybe the universe had decided to give them a chance. The blue marker grew closer. The battle raged on, and somewhere in the darkness of space, an unknown ship rushed toward Velrothi's station, carrying with it the answer to a question the galaxy had not yet learned to ask. What happens when you underestimate humanity? The marker was almost upon them now. In seconds, they would have their answer. The command center fell silent as everyone watched their screens. Even the sounds of battle seemed to fade away as they waited for the unknown ship to arrive. Zekthor held his breath. His career had been long and distinguished, but he had never experienced anything like this. The tension in the air was so thick he could almost taste it. Then, without warning, the unknown ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly in the middle of the battlefield. It was a maneuver that violated every known safety protocol. Ships needed time and distance to safely transition from FTL to normal space. Dropping in like this should have torn the vessel apart. But the ship remained intact, hanging in space between the Coalition defenders and the Korthax attackers. It was smaller than the Korthax dreadnoughts but larger than a Coalition cruiser. Its design was strange, with sharp angles and a dark hull that seemed to absorb sensor beams. Identification? Zekthor demanded. Talana worked her console frantically. Sir, I'm reading the transponder code now. It's a human ship. A human ship. Zekthor could not hide his surprise. What are humans doing out here? The humans were a young species, barely 50 years into their FTL age. They were considered primitive by galactic standards, ignored by most major powers. What could they possibly do against the Korthax Dominion? They're hailing us, sir. Answer them. A voice came through the speakers. It was calm, almost casual, speaking in accented but clear galactic standard. Velrothis Station, this is the UNSC Perseverance. We received your distress call. Transmit tactical data and will assist. Zekthor stared at the communications console in disbelief. The humans wanted to help. One ship against the entire Korthax fleet? It was madness. But looking at his tactical display, looking at the 19 remaining Coalition ships and the overwhelming Korthax force, Zekthor realized they had nothing left to lose. Transmit all tactical data to the human vessel, he ordered. Maybe, just maybe, the universe was giving them that chance after all. Captain Marcus Chen sat in the command chair of the UNSC Perseverance, studying the tactical data streaming across his displays. The situation was worse than he had expected. The Coalition forces were being slaughtered, and Velrothi's station's shields were failing fast. Aria. Analysis, he said calmly. The ship's artificial intelligence responded immediately, her voice filling the bridge. 3 Korthax dreadnoughts, 41 cruisers, 22 support vessels. Coalition forces are down to 19 ships and decreasing. Station shields at 38%. Estimated time until complete shield failure is 14 minutes. And our odds of making a difference? Calculating. There was a brief pause. Honestly, Captain, the computer wants me to tell you we should run away very fast. Despite the situation, Chen smiled. He had programmed Aria with a sense of humor, because combat was stressful enough without a boring computer voice. But you're not going to tell me that, are you? No, sir. I've analyzed your psychological profile. You're going to fight regardless of the odds. So I've prepared 17 different combat scenarios, ranked by probability of success. Good. Give me scenario 1. The main view screen lit up with a tactical overlay. Chen studied it carefully, his mind racing through possibilities. The Perseverance was a prototype, a test bed for new human military technology. Earth's government had kept its existence classified, along with the rest of Project Nightfall. While the galaxy saw humanity as primitive newcomers, humans had been watching and learning. They had learned that the galaxy was dangerous. They had learned that being peaceful meant nothing if you could not defend yourself. So they had prepared in secret for the day when their weakness might be exploited. Today was that day. Weapon status? Chen asked. Lieutenant Sarah Park answered from the weapons station. All railguns loaded and ready. Nuclear missiles armed. Cyber warfare suite is active. Electronic countermeasures ready? Chen nodded. The coalition species had moved beyond kinetic weapons centuries ago, preferring energy weapons like plasma cannons and particle beams. They considered human weapons primitive and barbaric. Nuclear weapons especially horrified them, but humans had learned that sometimes primitive and barbaric got the job done. Communications. Hail the Korthax flagship, Chen ordered. The communications officer, Ensign Tom Rodriguez, looked surprised. Sir, you heard me. Let's be polite. Rodriguez worked his console, and moments later a Korthax commander appeared on screen. His red eyes narrowed when he saw Chen. A human? The Korthax sounded amused. This is not your concern, primitive. Leave now, or we will add your ship to the debris field. Chen leaned back in his chair, keeping his expression neutral. I'm afraid I can't do that. See, we received a distress call from some friends, and humans have this annoying habit of helping our friends when they're in trouble. Friends? The Korthax commander laughed, a harsh hissing sound. The coalition barely acknowledges your existence. You are insects to them. Why would you die for insects who see you as insects? Maybe we're just stupid that way, Chen replied. Or maybe we understand something you don't. Either way, I'm giving you one chance. Withdraw your forces, or we'll make you withdraw them. The Korthax commander stopped laughing. His scaled face twisted with anger. You dare threaten the Dominion? One small ship against our entire fleet? You are either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. I've been called both, Chen said. Your choice. You have 30 seconds. The Korthax commander's eyes glowed brighter with rage. You will die first, human. I will personally ensure your ship becomes a monument to your species' arrogance. The transmission ended. Chen took a deep breath and let it out slowly. Around him, his crew of 47 prepared for battle. They were volunteers, every one of them. They knew the risks when they signed up for Project Nightfall. All hands battle stations, Chen announced over the ship-wide intercom. This is not a drill. We are engaging Korthax forces in approximately 10 seconds. Remember your training, trust your equipment, and watch each other's backs. He switched off the intercom and looked at his command crew. Park at weapons. Rodriguez at communications. Lieutenant Commander James Wilson at navigation. Ensign Lisa Chen at sensors, no relation to the captain despite sharing a last name. Chief Engineer David Martinez monitoring the drives from engineering. These were his people, his responsibility. Area. Execute Scenario 1, Chen said. All ahead full. Take us into the heart of their formation. The Perseverance leaped forward, accelerating so quickly that the inertial dampeners struggled to compensate. On the view screen, the Korthax fleet grew larger as the human ship raced toward them. They're locking weapons on us, Lisa Chen reported. 6 cruisers moving to intercept. Perfect, Captain Chen said. That's exactly what we want them to do. Area, prepare cyber attack package. Park, target the lead cruiser with railguns. Wilson, be ready for evasive maneuvers on my mark. The 6 Korthax cruisers opened fire simultaneously. Plasma bolts streaked through space, converging on the Perseverance. At the last possible second, Wilson threw the ship into a tight spiral and the plasma fire missed by meters. Now, Chen shouted. The Perseverance returned fire. Its railguns, magnetically accelerated kinetic weapons that fired solid metal slugs at a significant fraction of light speed, hammered the lead Korthax cruiser. The slugs punched through the alien ship's shields like they were paper. Atmosphere vented into space as the cruiser's hull ruptured in 3 places. At the same time, Aria launched her cyber attack. Invisible electronic warfare signals reached out to the Korthax ships, probing their computer systems for weaknesses. The Korthax had excellent military technology, but their cybersecurity was based on defending against known threats. They had never encountered human computer viruses. I'm in their tactical network, Area reported cheerfully. Oh, this is fun. Their encryption is good, but they're using predictable patterns. Humans would never be this predictable because we're paranoid and creative. Can you cause them problems? Chen asked. Can I cause them problems? Captain, I'm insulted. Watch this. On the view screen, the 6 Korthax cruisers suddenly lost formation. 2 of them nearly collided as their navigation systems fed them false data. Another one's weapons locked up mid-fire, causing a plasma cannon to explode on its own deck. Their tactical network is completely compromised, Aria announced. I've planted viruses that are spreading to other ships. The Korthax are very good at linking their systems for coordinated attacks, which means when I break one ship, I can reach all the others. The coalition forces, watching from their defensive positions, could hardly believe what they were seeing. One human ship had just crippled 6 Korthax cruisers in less than a minute. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Zekthor stood frozen in shock. "What are they doing?" he whispered. "What kind of weapons are those?" Talana was equally stunned. "Sir, the human ship is moving deeper into the Korthax formation. They're heading straight for the dreadnoughts." Zekthor watched the human ship dance through enemy fire, moving with precision and speed that seemed impossible. Every time the Korthax tried to target it, the ship was already somewhere else. And everywhere it went, Korthax vessels died or fell dead in space, their systems corrupted by the human AI. "Get me that human captain again," Zekthor ordered. When Chen's face appeared on screen, Zekthor asked the question that was burning in his mind. "What are you?" Chen smiled grimly. "We're the species you forgot to worry about, Admiral. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a battle to win." The battle transformed into chaos as the Perseverance tore through the Korthax formation, like a knife through fabric. Captain Chen gripped his chair as the ship executed maneuvers that would have been considered suicidal by any other species standards. 3 more cruisers coming around to port side. Lisa Chen called out from sensors. "They're trying to box us in." "Let them think they can," Marcus Chen replied. "Arya, how's our cyber attack spreading?" "Like a bad cold at a preschool," Arya responded. 19 Korthax ships now have compromised systems. Their network security is trying to isolate infected vessels, but I'm adapting faster than they can respond. Humans wrote computer viruses for fun before we even had FTL travel. These Korthax have no idea what they're dealing with. Park grinned at her weapons console. "Captain, we have a perfect shot on those 3 cruisers." "Permission to fire nuclear missiles?" Chen hesitated for just a second. Nuclear weapons were considered barbaric by the galactic community. Using them would announce to everyone watching that humans still relied on primitive, destructive technology. But the coalition was dying, and Velrathi Station was minutes from complete shield failure. He made his choice. Fire missiles. 3 targets, 2 missiles each. 6 nuclear-tipped missiles launched from the Perseverance, racing toward the Korthax cruisers on pillars of fire. The Korthax tried to shoot them down with point defense weapons, but the missiles were small, fast, and equipped with electronic countermeasures that made them difficult to track. The first missile reached its target. The nuclear warhead detonated just meters from the cruiser's hull, releasing energy equivalent to a small star. The flash of light was so bright that the view screen automatically dimmed to protect human eyes. When the light faded, the Korthax cruiser was gone, vaporized completely. The other 5 missiles found their targets moments later. 3 more cruisers died instantly. 1 cruiser survived with catastrophic damage, spinning out of control. The last cruiser's shields held, but barely. It immediately began retreating, no longer interested in fighting. On every ship in the battle, Coalition and Korthax alike, crews stared in horror and amazement. No one had seen nuclear weapons used in space combat for centuries. The raw, primitive destructiveness of it went against everything modern galactic warfare had become, but it worked. "The Korthax fleet is breaking formation," Wilson reported from navigation. "They're confused. Some ships are attacking us, others are trying to regroup, and some are just sitting dead in space from Arya's viruses." "Good," Chen said. "Now we press the advantage. Take us toward their flagship dreadnought. Park, load the railguns with armor-piercing rounds. Arya, concentrate your cyber attacks on the dreadnought's escort ships." The Perseverance accelerated again, weaving through the battlefield with impossible agility. Korthax plasma fire filled the space around them, but Wilson somehow avoided every shot, guided by instinct and years of training that pushed human reflexes to their absolute limit. How is he doing that? Talana whispered on the Coalition command ship, watching the human vessel dodge fire that should have been impossible to avoid. Admiral Zekthor had no answer. He had studied human capabilities when they first achieved FTL travel. They were average in most respects. Good at nothing, terrible at nothing, unremarkable. But watching this battle, Zekthor realized that the reports had missed something crucial. Humans were adaptable. They learned, they improvised, and they absolutely refused to accept that anything was impossible. "All Coalition ships," Zekthor announced over the fleet channel, "follow the human ship's lead. Concentrate fire on targets the Perseverance damages. This is our chance to turn this battle around. The coalition forces, inspired by the human ship's fearless assault, rallied. They pushed forward from their defensive positions and began targeting the confused Korthax vessels. The tide of battle shifted. On the Perseverance, alarms suddenly blared. "The Korthax flagship is targeting us," Lisa Chen warned. "It's charging some kind of massive energy weapon. Power readings are off the scale." Chen looked at the view screen. The Korthax flagship dreadnought, easily 5 times the size of the Perseverance, was rotating to bring its main weapon to bear. Energy crackled along the length of the massive ship as it prepared to fire. "That's a planet cracker," Park said quietly. "I've read about them. The Korthax use them to destroy orbital defenses. One shot from that thing will go right through our shields and turn us into atoms." "Time until they can fire?" Chen asked. 40 seconds, Arya answered. "Captain, I need to inform you that our shields cannot stop that weapon. Neither can our armor. We need to be somewhere else when it fires." Chen studied the tactical display. The Korthax flagship was trying to position itself while its escort ships attempted to screen it from coalition fire. But the dreadnought was slow, massive, designed for overwhelming firepower rather than maneuverability. An idea formed in Chen's mind. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It violated every principle of space combat. But when had that ever stopped humans? "Arya, I need you to calculate something for me," Chen said. "Can we use the debris field from those destroyed coalition ships as cover?" "You want to hide in a debris field?" "Captain, there are hundreds of pieces of wreckage spinning at various speeds. One collision could cripple us. That's not what I asked." "Can you navigate through it?" There was a pause. Then Arya said, "Yes, but it will require precision flying. Wilson will need to follow my instructions exactly, with zero margin for error." Chen looked at Wilson. "Can you do it?" Wilson swallowed hard but nodded. "Yes, sir. Just tell me where to go. Do it. Take us into the debris field. Use the wreckage as cover and get us as close to that dreadnought as possible." The Perseverance dove into the spinning maze of destroyed ships and shattered metal. On the view screen, massive pieces of hull plating tumbled past, any one of them large enough to destroy the human ship if they collided. "Left 3 degrees, Arya called out. "Now up 5. Cut speed by 30%. "Hard right." Wilson's hands moved across his controls like a musician playing an instrument. The ship twisted and turned, sliding between pieces of debris with centimeters to spare. On the Korthax flagship, targeting computers lost their lock as the human ship disappeared into the wreckage. "They can't see us anymore," Lisa Chen confirmed. "The debris is scattering their sensors." "Perfect," Captain Chen said. "Arya, plot me a course that brings us out of the debris field directly behind the flagship." "You want to come out behind it?" "Captain, that puts us point-blank range of their engines and reactor." "Exactly." Understanding dawned on the bridge crew. Park checked her weapon systems. "Sir, at that range our railguns will punch straight through their reactor shielding." "That's the idea. One ship against their entire fleet was always going to end one way. But we're not here to survive. We're here to buy time for the station to evacuate, and for the coalition forces to regroup. If we take out their flagship, we break their command structure. The Korthax won't press the attack without leadership." The crew fell silent, understanding what their captain was saying. This might be a one-way trip. Rodriguez spoke up from communications. "Sir, if we're making last stands, I just want to say it's been an honor serving with you all." "Same here," Park added. "It's not over yet," Chen said firmly. "We're going to hit them hard and then we're going to get out. Nobody's dying today if I can help it. Wilson, Arya, get us in position. Park, prepare to fire everything we've got directly into their reactor." The Perseverance emerged from the debris field like a ghost, appearing directly behind the Korthax flagship. For a moment, the Korthax didn't even realize the human ship was there. That moment was all Chen needed. Fire. Every railgun on the Perseverance fired simultaneously. Solid metal slugs, accelerated to incredible speeds, slammed into the flagship's reactor section. The dreadnought's shields were facing forward, expecting threats from that direction. Its rear was almost completely unprotected. The slugs punctured the reactor shielding and continued into the reactor itself. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the entire rear section of the flagship exploded in a brilliant flash as the reactor went critical. The explosion tore the dreadnought in half. Both pieces tumbled away, venting atmosphere and secondary explosions. The Korthax fleet, watching their flagship die, lost all coordination. Ships began retreating in random directions, no longer organized or directed. The Korthax fleet scattered like frightened fish, their command structure shattered along with their flagship. Captain Chen watched them flee on the view screen, allowing himself a brief moment of satisfaction before reality set in. "Damage report," he ordered. Chief Engineer Martinez's voice came through from engineering, strained and urgent. "Captain, we've got problems. The reactor is running hot." Those maneuvers through the debris field stressed the coolant systems beyond safe limits. "We're also showing hull breaches on decks 3 and 5, and the starboard maneuvering thruster is offline. Can we make it back to the station? Maybe, but it's going to be close." Chen nodded and opened a channel to Velrathi's station. "Admiral Zekthor, this is Captain Chen. The Korthax fleet is retreating. I recommend your forces pursue and ensure they leave the system completely." Zekthor's face appeared on the screen. The alien admiral looked stunned, as if he could not quite believe what had just happened. "Captain Chen, your actions today have saved millions of lives. The Coalition owes humanity a debt we can never fully repay. Just doing our job, Admiral. But I need to inform you that the Perseverance has taken damage. We're going to need assistance getting our wounded crew to medical facilities." "Of course. We're dispatching rescue ships now." "Captain, how many crew members do you have aboard?" 47. Zekthor's expression changed to one of disbelief. 47? You fought an entire fleet with only 47 crew members? Chen allowed himself a tired smile. "We're a small ship, Admiral. We work with what we have." The transmission ended and Chen leaned back in his chair, suddenly feeling every bit of stress and tension from the last hour. Around him, his crew was celebrating quietly, hugging each other and laughing with relief. "Area," Chen said. "Status on our cyber attacks? Did you pull your viruses out of the Korthax systems?" "Most of them. I left a few surprises behind, though. Nothing lethal, just some annoying bugs that will make their computers play human music at random intervals. I figured they could use some culture." Despite his exhaustion, Chen laughed. "You're terrible. I learned from the best, sir." The next few hours passed in a blur. Coalition rescue ships arrived and helped stabilize the Perseverance. Medical teams evacuated the 17 injured crew members, none of whom were critically wounded thanks to the ship's advanced safety systems. The rest of the crew worked with Coalition engineers to patch the worst of the damage. Chen walked through the corridors of his damaged ship, checking on his people and assessing the repairs. The Perseverance would fly again, but she would need weeks in a shipyard to be fully operational. As he reached the bridge, Talana was waiting for him, having shuttled over from the Coalition command ship. The blue-skinned communications officer looked at Chen with an expression that mixed awe, fear, and curiosity. "Captain Chen," she said, "Admiral Zekthor requests your presence on Velrathi's station. The Council wants to speak with you." "The Council? Already?" News of this battle is spreading across the galaxy at light speed. Every major news network is broadcasting footage of your attack. Everyone wants to know the same thing. What else are humans hiding? Chen felt a knot form in his stomach. Project Nightfall was supposed to remain classified for at least another 5 years. Earth's government had planned to gradually reveal humanity's military capabilities, allowing time for diplomatic groundwork. But now the secret was out, exposed in the most dramatic way possible. "Tell the Admiral I'll be there within the hour," Chen said. 3 hours later, Chen stood in a conference room on Velrathi's station, surrounded by holographic projections of council members from a dozen species. Admiral Zekthor sat at the physical table, along with several other Coalition military commanders who had witnessed the battle. "Captain Chen," said Counselor Vexnar, a tall insectoid being with compound eyes that seemed to look in multiple directions at once. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I express our gratitude for your assistance in defending Velrathi's station. However, we have significant concerns about the weapons and technology your ship employed." "I understand your concerns, Counselor," Chen replied carefully. "But with respect, we only used those weapons because the alternative was watching millions of innocent people die." "Nuclear weapons, Captain. Your species used nuclear weapons in open space combat. Such weapons have been banned by the Galactic Conventions for over 1,000 years. The Galactic Conventions that humanity never signed because we were never invited to participate in creating them," Chen pointed out. "We're not bound by rules we had no voice in making." The council chambers erupted in muttered conversations. Counselor Vexnar held up a hand for silence. Captain, please help us understand. When humanity achieved FTL travel 50 years ago, your technology was evaluated as being primitive compared to galactic standards. How is it possible that you have ships like the Perseverance? How is it possible that your computer systems could so easily compromise Korthak's military networks? Chen took a breath, knowing his answer would shape humanity's relationship with the galaxy for generations to come. Counselor, when humanity first made contact with galactic civilization, we were excited. We thought we would be welcomed as partners, as equals. Instead, we were dismissed as primitives. We were told to sit quietly in our corner of space while the important species handled important matters. We gave humanity territory and trade rights, another counselor objected. We treated you fairly according to your development level. You patronized us, Chen said bluntly. And maybe that was understandable. We were new, we were technologically behind. But here's something you need to understand about humans. We learn from experience. Earth's history is full of examples where the weak were conquered by the strong, where unprepared civilizations were destroyed by prepared ones. We learned those lessons in blood. He gestured to a holographic display showing the Korthak's attack. Today proved that we learned correctly. The galaxy is dangerous. The coalition is not strong enough to protect everyone. We realized that if we wanted to survive, we needed to be able to protect ourselves. So we prepared. In secret, yes. But we prepared. Admiral Zekthor spoke for the first time. Project Nightfall. We intercepted some of your ship's internal communications during the battle. Is that what you call your military program? Chen nodded slowly. There was no point denying it now. Yes, Project Nightfall is Earth's classified defense initiative. The Perseverance is one of 17 ships built specifically for rapid response to threats. 17 ships? Counselor Vexnar's compound eyes widened. Where are the other 16? Positioned at strategic points throughout this sector of space. When we received the distress call from Velrathis, all 17 ships went to high alert. The Perseverance was simply closest and able to respond first. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had not just built one advanced warship in secret. They had built an entire fleet and deployed it without anyone noticing. This is unacceptable, declared Counselor Thren, a crystalline being whose body refracted light in rainbow patterns. Humanity cannot be allowed to militarize without oversight. You could threaten the entire galactic order. With respect, Counselor, Chen said, his voice hardening. Humanity threatens no one. We built these ships for defense. Today we proved that by defending coalition citizens, not attacking them, we risked our lives to protect people who have spent 50 years treating us as second-class members of galactic society. Zekthor stood up. Counselor Thren, Captain Chen is correct. Whatever concerns we have about human militarization, today they saved 3 million lives. They fought when they could have fled. They bled for coalition citizens. That earns them the right to be heard with respect. Thank you, Admiral, Chen said. Don't thank me yet, Zekthor replied. I have questions of my own. Captain, your crew numbered only 47, yet you operated that ship with incredible efficiency. How? Chen smiled slightly. Humans are very good at doing more with less, Admiral. We have to be, and our AI systems are more advanced than most species realize. The AI that called itself Area, Talana interjected. It behaved unlike any AI I've encountered. It had personality, humor, creativity. It adapted to battlefield conditions in real time. Area is a true artificial intelligence, Chen explained. Most galactic species use limited AI, programmed for specific tasks. Humans developed unrestricted AI decades ago. Area thinks, learns, and makes decisions independently. That's dangerous, Counselor Vexnar said. Unrestricted AI has led to catastrophic outcomes for many civilizations. Only when the AI is treated as a tool or slave, Chen countered. Arya is a member of my crew with rights and responsibilities just like any organic crew member. We trust her, she trusts us. That relationship is what made our victory possible. 3 months passed after the Battle of Velrathis. The galaxy had not stopped talking about humanity's dramatic entrance onto the galactic stage. News networks played footage of the Perseverance fighting the Korthak's fleet on constant repeat. Military analysts debated human tactics. Philosophers questioned what humanity's hidden capabilities meant for galactic civilization. Captain Marcus Chen stood in the observation deck of Velrathis Station, watching ships come and go through the viewport. His injured crew had recovered fully. and the Perseverance was currently in Earth's orbital shipyards being rebuilt and upgraded. Chen himself had been promoted to commander and awarded the Coalition's Star of Valor, the first human to ever receive the honor. But the recognition came with complications. "They're ready for you." "Commander," Talana said from the doorway. She had requested a transfer to work with human forces, fascinated by their different approach to problems. The Coalition had approved, making her the first alien liaison officer assigned to a human ship. Chen turned from the viewport and straightened his uniform. "How bad is the crowd?" "Every seat in the council chambers is filled. Media from 40 different worlds are broadcasting live. This is the most anticipated council session in decades." "No pressure then." Talana smiled, an expression she had learned from working with humans. "You'll do fine. You faced down a Korthax fleet. Politicians should be easy." Chen laughed despite his nerves. Together they walked through the station corridors toward the council chambers. Everywhere they passed, people stared. Some looked at Chen with admiration, others with fear, and some with suspicion. Humanity had gone from being ignored to being the subject of intense scrutiny overnight. The council chambers were indeed packed. Chen took his place at the speaker's podium, while the council members arranged themselves in their seats. Councillor Vexnar, as senior member, opened the session. "Commander Chen, you have been called before this council to provide testimony regarding Project Nightfall and humanity's military capabilities. The council must determine what actions, if any, should be taken in response to humanity's secret militarization. Do you understand the gravity of this session?" "I do, Councillor," Chen replied, his voice steady. "Then let us begin. Please explain to the council why humanity chose to develop advanced military technology in secret rather than working within established galactic frameworks." Chen had prepared for this question, with help from Earth's diplomatic corps. "Councillor, when humanity joined galactic civilization 50 years ago, we came with hope and optimism. We believed we would be welcomed as equals and partners, but that's not what happened. We were assigned territory in an undeveloped region of space. We were excluded from important trade agreements. We were not invited to join defensive alliances. We were treated as children who needed to be managed rather than adults who could contribute. That treatment reflected humanity's actual capabilities at the time," Councillor Thren objected. "You were technologically primitive. Primitive compared to species that had centuries of FTL development, yes," Chen agreed. "But humanity has one quality that makes up for technological disadvantages. We learn quickly. We studied every piece of galactic technology we could access. We analyzed how your ships worked, how your weapons functioned, how your computer systems operated, and we found weaknesses." "Weaknesses?" Admiral Zekthor leaned forward with interest. "Yes, Admiral. Galactic civilization has been relatively peaceful for so long that many military systems have become standardized and predictable. Energy weapons are powerful but require enormous reactors and cooling systems. Particle shields can stop directed energy but are vulnerable to kinetic impacts. Computer networks are highly integrated for efficiency, but lack adequate security against sophisticated cyber attacks." Chen gestured to the holographic display, which showed a tactical breakdown of the Battle of Velrathis. Humanity looked at these weaknesses and developed weapons specifically designed to exploit them. Railguns are primitive by galactic standards, but they work. Nuclear weapons are barbaric, but they work. Advanced AI is considered dangerous, but when properly implemented, it works. "You make it sound like you were preparing to attack the galaxy," Councillor Vexnar said. "Not attack. Councillor, survive. Humanity has a long history of the weak being conquered by the strong. We refuse to be weak ever again. Project Nightfall was designed as a rapid response defense force, 17 ships positioned throughout Coalition space, ready to respond to threats. Not to threaten the Coalition, but to protect ourselves and our allies if needed." "Allies?" Councillor Thren's crystalline body flashed with colored light, a sign of agitation. "The Coalition never agreed to be your ally." "You are now," Admiral Zekthor interrupted. "Whether the Council officially acknowledges it or not, Commander Chen and his crew shed blood defending Coalition citizens. That creates bonds that bureaucracy cannot erase." A murmur of agreement rippled through the chambers. Many of the military officers present nodded. Whatever their concerns about human capabilities, no one could deny that the Perseverance had saved Velrathi Station. Councillor Vexnar raised a hand for silence. "Commander Chen, The Council has reviewed all available data on Project Nightfall. We know you have 17 ships. We know they use advanced AI, kinetic weapons, nuclear missiles, and sophisticated cyber warfare capabilities. What we do not know is what else humanity might be hiding. How can we trust that you have told us everything? This was the moment Chen had been dreading. The moment where he had to decide how much truth to reveal. He thought about the other projects Earth had been developing in secret. The orbital defense platforms, the quantum communication network, the deep space monitoring stations. Counselor, I could stand here and list every piece of military hardware humanity possesses, Chen said slowly. I could show you technical specifications and deployment schedules. But that's not really what you're asking. You're asking if you can trust humans, if we'll be a force for stability or chaos in the galaxy. That is exactly what we're asking, Vexnar confirmed. Chen took a deep breath. Then I'll be honest with you. Humanity will not disarm. We will not abandon Project Nightfall. We will continue to develop technology to defend ourselves. But I can promise you this, humanity seeks cooperation, not conquest. We want to be partners in galactic civilization, not overlords. Today you have the chance to decide what our relationship will be. Are you threatening this council? Counselor Thren demanded. No, I'm offering you a choice. You can treat humanity as a threat and push us away, in which case you'll create the very problem you fear. Or you can accept us as equals, work with us as partners, and gain allies who have proven they'll stand beside you in battle. The council chambers erupted in debate. Some counselors argued passionately for sanctions against humanity. Others defended the humans, pointing to their actions at Velrathis. The argument continued for hours, with Chen standing at the podium answering questions and defending humanity's choices. Finally, as the station's artificial day cycle was shifting to night, Counselor Vexnar called for a vote. The question before this council is simple. Should humanity be granted full membership in the coalition, with all rights and responsibilities that entails, or should humanity face sanctions for unauthorized militarization? Chen watched the vote tally appear on the holographic display. His heart pounded as the numbers climbed. It was close, far closer than he would have liked. But when the final vote was counted, the result was clear. Humanity had won full coalition membership by a margin of 7 votes. Counselor Vexnar looked at Chen, his compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. Commander Chen, by vote of this council, humanity is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Coalition, including a seat on the Security Council. Congratulations. You are no longer newcomers to galactic civilization. You are now part of it with all the responsibilities that brings. Chen allowed himself to smile. Thank you, Counselor. Humanity will not disappoint you. The session ended and Chen made his way through crowds of reporters and well-wishers. Talana walked beside him, running interference when the crowd became too aggressive. They finally reached a quiet corridor where Chen could catch his breath. That went better than I expected, Chen admitted. You made them see that humanity can be trusted, Talana said. That's no small thing. Chen's communication device beeped. He checked it and saw a message from Earth Command. Congratulations, Commander. Report to Earth Orbital Shipyard 1 immediately. You have a new assignment. What is it? Talana asked. I'm being given a new ship, the UNSC Perseverance 2. They want me to command the first joint human coalition vessel. Mixed crew, combined technology. That's a great honor. It's also a huge responsibility. The whole galaxy will be watching to see if humans can actually work alongside other species. Talana smiled. Commander, you convinced an entire battle fleet to rally behind you in the middle of a losing battle. You persuaded the Council to accept humanity as equals. I think you can handle commanding a mixed crew. They walked together toward the docking bay where a shuttle would take them to Earth. As they passed a viewport, Chen paused to look out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Korthax Dominion was regrouping, planning their revenge.